Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of Young Guns by. Hello, how are you?
Hey, what's up? I'm handsome. How are you, Vikas?
I am long-haired and bushy. So, but,
But you still
so
look good.
thank you. So I was just introducing us to the audience. So it's week 4 of a theme that we developed called Young Guns. And it's really, this week has all been about, how do we acknowledge and celebrate and give a platform to young talent from across the country. And I don't think there's many platforms that are neutral, across brands, etc., that give this kind of opportunity. We've been very overwhelmed because we did a kind of shout out to the industry saying, please mention some names who we could recognize, because obviously the older kind of stylists and celebs we know, and we were expecting to do like one event a day, but we had like 50 plus names come in, so we had to quickly revamp the format and say, okay, right, we're going to do 2 a day. We're going to have to run this in multiple series because we had too many names to feature in 1 week, and which is great. There is so much talent there, and also many peers coming together, recommending each other, many salon owners saying, this talent's good, that talent's good. So it's a great, it was just great to see so many contributions coming in about young talent, which also gives us a lot of confidence about, the next gen like yourself, who are there up and coming, and, the kind of ideas you're bringing to the table and what difference you'll make to this community.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would firstly like to say a big thank you to the PBI team, the Professional Beauty India team, because I have seen since the second week of lockdown itself, you guys have kept us engaged. You guys have kept us up to the mark on what's going to happen next and how do we take care of our salons, be it with the vendors, be it with the distributors, with the manufacturers, be it with the business owners, the big corporate houses of our industry. And another thank you is for giving us the honor to share the screen with you. And thanks a lot for all those. And the biggest thank yous to all those who nominated me. And thank you, Vikas, for selecting. How should I call you? Vikas, Vikas sir, Mr. Vikas, how do you like it?
No, don't call me sir. No one calls me sir, so you're not allowed to do that. There's no sir here. It's,
All right, so we'll stick
Vikas
to
is
it.
fine.
Perfect. That's fine.
Super. Yeah, and I'll do a quick shout out. So you're right. It's our team has been working crazy busy. We're doing almost 7-day weeks at the moment, trying to cut on content for the industry.
Yes.
I also do want to thank Ankit and Olaplex for this week, because while we can't do physical events, just getting that support from brands does help to kind of keep us going as well. So
Yes.
big shout out to the Olaplex team. A
Fabulous.
side point, tomorrow we have a very exciting session with Olaplex Global Brand Ambassador, who's a top colorist. She's going to go live with us tomorrow evening. So we're just getting her photos, and we'll promote that later on today.
Oh, I'm going to put that on my to-do list.
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow evening, so about 8 o'clock in the evening, because she's on West Coast in LA.
Oh,
so
of course. Has to be in the evening then.
So, yeah. Cool, but back to you. And you're from a family of artists, right? So it'd be good to just understand. You've made your own name as well in the industry already very quickly. So just tell us about how did you get started? Because I know you've got inspirational family behind you to learn from, but what motivated you to actually keep continuing, in this industry?
All right. Firstly, because I would like to ask you, is my screen clear and am I audible clearly?
You're audible. Your video is a bit blurred.
Should I rejoin?
Might be a network issue.
Could be.
Okay, yeah. Try rejoining. Yeah, just try rejoining.
Yeah. Because I received 2 messages also that Vivek, you're blurred. Vivek.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just rejoin. I'll put a request again to you, and then we try connecting this.
Done. Okay. I was just going to get Vivek back in again. And hopefully a less blurred one. And I hope you are, who's watching, I hope you're enjoying the content we're putting together, as we celebrate, and bring education and engage the community from different parts of the country, even across the world. We've got artists coming in, salon owners coming in. And like I said, later on today, we've got a great session with salons that have opened up. So 5:30 to 6:30 tonight on Facebook, we're going to be talking to 4 salons from around the country, as well as Dubai, that have opened up in the last few weeks, 4 weeks, so that you can also learn and listen to what a stylist going through. I think Vivek is here. I'm just going to add him. So Vivek's just coming in. So tonight, 5:30, do log into Facebook to see what, yeah, much better.
Better?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, super. So we were talking about what got you started, just moving straight into the industry.
All right. So I think when I started, it wasn't just the way you said. Firstly, I don't know why was I selected for this topic, because it says that pro tips on how to go on the top. So I don't think so. I'm still on the top. I'm still trying to.
On the way, you're on the way. So it should be more on the way to the top. Maybe we're jumping the gun too soon, but it's definitely on the way. I mean, you're already making, you've built a really good reputation as, even a young kid already. So I think you could pass some of those tips, during this interaction.
Sure.
How did you get started? What was your journey to kickstarting and getting into being a stylist?
All right. So I started after my SSC, after I finished my schooling, and I don't know whether this is fortunate or unfortunately, I was good at studies. So my father always thought that I'm going to study and I'm going to go to US and do some good IT job over there.
Yeah.
He always thought that, and he was prepared mentally that that's how it's going to be. But then once he told me that I just want in your vacation time, I just want you to come for a week or 2 and just see what your father does. For us, it used to be like, okay, he's a hairdresser. But he told me, no, you should come to the salon. You should see what your father does. What is the kind of people that come to him, and all of those. So I was like, okay. And when I went to the salon, I started spending time over there, seeing around with the activities that were happening, and people were so fervid with their job. They were so passionate. They were so inclined towards it that that really struck me. And then for me becoming whatever small or big I am, there have been multiple companies that have got me in, which have kept me motivated. Just the way you said that what made me come into it's my family, of course, that got me into hairdressing. But I would like to thank a big number of people who have been around and helping me jump from A to B, B to C. And there are a lot of these. Enrich is one of those companies for whom I'm consulting. L'Oreal is one of those companies. PBI has been a very big support for educating us, bringing in a lot of artists. So that's how it's been. That's how I have kept on. My journey has been, I can say, it's progressive. It's something that it's just not happened. It's a lot of people say, Vikas, that for Yuto it's very natural. Yuto his son, Yuto his grandson.
Yeah.
It's not been that way. It's not that piece of a cake. I have taken step by step, sip by sip, and my growth has been progressive.
And so when did you start? So obviously you said SSC, you were doing some kind of like internship and seeing what your dad was up to, but when did you actually then decide to join the business essentially, or move into this as a career?
2018, after my examination, I joined my father's academy, and I took I'm a slow learner. So that
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong, because it means you should build stronger foundations.
Yes. So I'm a slow learner that way, and in fact, even right now, every time I go to learn, I become like a neophyte. I become a neophyte every time I'm trying to learn something into it. And so 2018 to 2019, the whole 1 year, usually takes 6 months to learn the basics of hairdressing in our academy. But I took 1 year. I took it bit by bit. I learned really slow, really hard. And then for those 1 year, from 2018, I started, to answer your question. Till 2019, I was a student. And then from 2019 to 2020, no, I'm saying 2018, 2008, I think, 2008.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, you really got to the top very quick.
No,
Well,
I'm sorry, guys.
you still look about 18, so it's okay. You could, I think people would believe you. So
I know. I sometimes fear I should not look like a kid. People will stop giving me work. So I'm sorry, guys. It's not 2018. By mistake,
yeah.
that was 2008. 2008 to 9 is 1 year of learning. Is when I started.
And where did you do the learning? Did you do the learning, at your dad's academy, or did you go to do, to another academy to learn? What was that first year? What was the first year about?
First year was about learning from 2 foundations. Initially, for the first 6 to 9 months, I was only at my father's academy, and the trainers over there were teaching me. In fact, my father was also there, of course, that time, and means he's still there, but he no more takes across foundation courses. He only takes master classes. But at that point of time, I was lucky that my father also used to conduct classes, and I could be a part of it. So I learned foundation from my father's own academy. And then
I'm going to say hi to your dad. Your dad's saying hi as well. So hi to your dad.
Yeah.
Just commented.
He's sitting in the other room, and
but say, no sir. There's no sir anyway on this. So.
Daddy विकास बोल रहे हैं कि sir मत बोलो. So yeah, I learned it from him, and then for my advanced trainings, I went to L'Oreal. I went to Toni and Guy Academy in Singapore. I went to Vidal Sassoon Academy in London.
Wow.
And I went to Colombo also to learn my creative hair course, and then that was
where did you go in Colombo? Is that
Colombo,
Nena's, was it?
Nena, yes. There's only one person in Colombo, no?
Yeah.
So that's where I was. That's where I was there for a few days, and I did, in fact, back. You won't believe me, because when I went there, it was actually a 5 days course, and I had kept the last 3 days for my vacation. Naina ma'am called my father on the 5th day, when it was the graduation day, and she said that immediately 6th, 7th, 8th day, your son is going to these places to roam around. That is good, but I also want to tell you, Sham, that 6th, 7th, 8th day, we have this Chinese hairdresser who's coming, and she's fabulous. And my father was like, he's not going anywhere, he's coming to your course. He can roam around anytime. I didn't see Sri Lanka. So I did back-to-back 2 courses in Colombo.
Wow. So you spent like about a year, 1 year or so, going to L'Oreal and Vidal Sassoon and Toni and Guy, and was that like the second year was intensive training? Yes,
second year. The first year was foundation training. That foundation was specifically only focused with Sham's Academy and L'Oreal. And then, so I wasn't a L'Oreal Earth Academy student like how a lot of them are. I used to do those small courses, like you can come for 2 days and learn color. You can come for 3 days and learn texture services. That's how I used to do it. And my foundation was from my father's academy for first year. And then second year, third year, all these intensive trainings started coming in.
Okay. And then I guess you're lucky because, it's a family business as well. But was your father kind of guiding you to say, look, you've got to go to Vidal and Toni and Guy? Or was that your own research helping you try and...
It was my own, actually. So I wanted to do there's this course called NVQ level 1, level 2.
Yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to do that. And my father said, okay, from where do you want to do it? I said, of course, London, UK. And then he was like, okay, when we go, we will inquire about it. And if you want to join, then next year you can go and join that. I was like, okay, perfect. That's fine. So we went to Vidal Sassoon for a short course. Me and my father also joined me for that course. And over there,
So you're both studying together?
We were both studying together, yes. So when we went over there, the dean of Vidal Sassoon, at that point of time, we took a consultation appointment from him, that we need 15 minutes consultation with you. And in that, I wanted to know that how does the NVQ level 1, level 2 happen? What's the protocol that I should join, and how do I join, and what do I need to have on the background, some certification or something like those. He heard me for those 5 minutes with all my confusion. The 6th minute, he tells me that you You don't need NVQ. Your basics are strong. I have been seeing for the last 4 days. You don't need NVQ. If you need any kind of training, once in a year, come to Vidal Sassoon for 5 days and you'll be updated. You don't need NVQ. I was like,
Wow.
okay. And that's when my father was like, he's saying you don't need it. I was like, okay, let's go back to India.
Oh, wow. So you went all the way there to find out that you knew everything anyway.
I still don't think I know everything because
but it's a good, yeah, I get it. But it's a great confidence boost that, you know, you've got, you know, that even in India, right, we all look up to Vidal Sassoon as, you know, the god, and, you know, that's the icon for learning when it comes to hair. But then to having spent your time at your dad's academy, to then go there and say, look, you guys have very strong foundation. That's a great acknowledgement, obviously, for your dad's academy. And I think also just what we can achieve in India as well, that actually, while we can look elsewhere for inspiration, and even Nena, we were chatting to Nena last week, she says India has everything it needs to be world champions, but you've just got to get the discipline and the approach and cut the jugaad out and really put the discipline in, and there's no reason, you know, they can't be world champions.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I can't agree more to this. And you just use the word jugaad. You speak in Hindi, Vikas?
Really badly, so I don't want to. And I've got, so Ryan's saying hello, and Ryan knows how bad my Hindi is. So it's more of a, it's more entertainment value than serious value.
Yes, hello Ryan.
Yeah. So, okay, so you, and I think that's great, because sometimes it's hard when you're here to understand how important really good quality education is. And especially now in India, like there are so many academies, so many courses, you know, a lot of people think they can do a 5-day course and suddenly they're a celeb stylist, and they have such weak foundation. So it's great to hear that that you spent a whole year doing that kind of foundational training, because here you also hear many examples of people doing very short courses and then just thinking they've made it, and then now they're ready to be celebs. So I think it's great to for you to kind of drive home that message as well, that, you know, you spend your time getting your foundations right, you know, and that's so that you can build a successful career on top of that. So how often do you still do courses and upskilling, etc.?
So now we've been lucky that there are the cosmetic companies in India. They have been getting the international hairdressers to India for short courses, the master classes, and which we call the IPA and L'Oreal. So every year, twice the IPA team comes, and every time they have different faculties who come in, from Travis Hobby to a lot of Rush team and all of those people who come in. And I'm fortunate enough to be on the board, so I get to attend those trainings. Also, apart from that, every time an international hairdresser comes in, and some other organization is also doing some training, I pay for it and I go for it, because I have realized this one thing. When we go outside, we spend a few lakhs just on the ticket, and then accommodation, and then food, and then courses, so really in dollars. So that gets too expensive, because I've been there, I've done that. I know how expensive of an affair it becomes to train yourself when you go outside. So with accommodation, food, course, travel, everything. And we're fortunate enough, all of us, that since the last 5 years or maybe a little more, the international hairdressers have started coming to India. The market has really gone up. So I make sure I do all of those courses also. In fact, recently, Sophia Hilton was here in India. You must be.
I know, a couple of months back, I think February, March.
February. Yeah. So that's when I enrolled for that course also. And it was fun. I had a good learning with that. I showed her Bombay, in fact. I told her, you want to see Bombay nightlife? You should come with us. She was like, take me.
So where did you take her? Because Bombay's not as pretty as like Delhi and that. So where did you take her around Bombay?
So we spoke to her. I asked her that, what's the kind of party that you would like to do, and what's your poison and all of this. Yeah. She said that I should do it the way she did it. When I asked her, what's the kind of party you want to do, she did.
Oh my God.
And then I told her, okay, I need to take you to some dancing place. So first I booked a table at, me and Vaishaki both were there. So we took her to, and the team, we took her entire team. So we took them to Rasta Bombay, and over there we did like a little bit of dancing and English party for 2 hours. And once we were in our zones, and then bang opposite, there's this, how can I forget? Was it True Tram? No, there's some club. Hoppy Cola.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. Bang
Next to
opposite
Social.
Rasta. Yes, next to Socials. We went over there and they were playing Bhangra and all. She was like dancing and grooving, and she was so emotional at the end of the day because she was like, I didn't know this would happen in Bombay, and she was super happy.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And actually, it's also good because when the international artists come over, they have this opinion already that India's like this, it's a poor country, and we have a lot of poverty, etc., which we do. But to be able to showcase that actually there's a whole new side to India, which not many in the West appreciate or understand. So I think that's great as well to broaden their mind and open their mind to actually that we've got great talent, great academies, great nightlife. We've got, it's a highly developed country as well, at some levels. Cool. So education. So would you say that education is a really core part of how you've grown up and developed, as a stylist and colorist?
Absolutely, no doubt in this. And I can say that it's if we have a lot of arms and ammunitions, then it's education is my torpedo, and that's what I take whenever I think that okay, I need to do something bigger this year. I need to do something really out of box for this particular shoot. One thing that I go back to is my education. That's my torpedo. I always say that. And so education plays a really big role in building skills, building motivation, and you feel more confident after trainings. I have seen that. The biggest part is that you start feeling more confident once you start coming back. And what I also do is once I go through a training process, I make sure that within that 1 week itself of my training getting over, I go back and I train my Salon team members, all of them. So that becomes a really big thing, I think I learn only 70%. I can only take 70% from that person who's training me at that moment. But if I go back and teach it to someone, it goes at least to 80%. And that becomes like, it stays in my head. Because once you've done, if you've only seen something, it's only 50%. If you've done something, then it's like marked in your...
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's a really good tip, actually, even for those that are doing courses and they're able to go back and teach others that, because some of it is the theory, but practical is also so important. So I think that's a great tip for whoever's listening and watching that, to really enhance the value of the courses you're doing. Practice and teach others. I think that's a brilliant tip.
Yes.
And then, so what's the ammunition you're looking at this year? So are you already kind of looking at, whether it's online or when we get back to doing stuff in a physical world, have you already kind of selected what kind of trainings you want to do this year?
This year, I wish this year didn't exist only.
It doesn't. So this is just some TV reality show, and it's still 2019.
I wish that was true, man. I wish that was true. There was such great plans for 2020, but I don't think so. None of we're ourselves keeping on hold. We're trying to keep ourselves holding that no. Wait. Don't do it now. Don't do it now. That's how it is. But of course, education. So we always say this, that one door closes, then the other one opens. So what I have seen in this time is that I've realized this one thing, which I was talking to Shweta also when I was on the live when she'd invited, that the new thing is that we all have realized that sitting in our bedrooms, we can connect to 1,000 people. And that's the really big realization that our industry has got. So I also, in fact, conducted one online education course on the 13th to 15th of May. And n number of people from Pune to Kolombo to Gujarat to Haryana. One person joined from Dubai.
Wow.
Yes. So I had a bunch of hairdressers. I had to actually message them, okay, seats are full. I can't take anymore. So
full house.
Yes, full house. It was my first online education course, and I was so overwhelmed with that. I was like, oh my God, so many people enrolled in 3 days.
Wow, that's
And
brilliant.
yes, so I did that first online course, just the way you said. So this year, if not too many things, then at least I plan to focus on the online education. To answer your question, this year I'm planning to. So the first thing that the first online course that I did, I really put a lot of hours into designing a module. I wanted to make sure that even if I'm not there, through my live interactions, through my live applications and practicals and my presentation, I bring up a module that goes in their head really well. So I did that, but I am going to work even more on that. I think that was just my blueprint, and I'm going to work even more this year on bringing that education online, making it really practical, that people should believe, okay, this is possible and I will learn. It's not that I would just go and maybe I'll learn something and then come back. No, I want it to be that way. So that's what I'm going to focus on this year.
Oh, brilliant. And I don't know if you did any of the Sassoon courses, because they launched their online platform last month.
Yes.
And they did the first week was free. So they're like, they just did free education for 1 week and then discounted. And
yes. So I enrolled for that course. And every evening at 9 p.m. I used to be on my phone for that 1 hour. And it was so nostalgic. Firstly, a great learning experience, and a few of the tutors, the trainers who were teaching at that time, they have taught me, 2 of them.
Wow.
Yes, so I was so nostalgic looking at them. I was like, I wish I could talk to them right now.
Yeah.
So it was fabulous. I enrolled for that course. And for those 3 days I was there. In fact, even in the other trainings that they extended, I took part in few of those also. Whichever were of my interest, I felt like, okay, this is my genre. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. I joined all of those trainings. And in fact, not just once, I used to repeat a few of the videos also, because they are saved on their website. They've designed such a fabulous module on with their website. And I think they're opportunists with the kind of thing that they've done so quickly. So I haven't known for that. It's fabulous.
I know. And when we were talking to Mark Hayes last month, who's a global creative director for Sassoon, so we did an interview with him last month, and he said it's taking. If you haven't, I'll send you the link if you haven't seen it. But
please.
He was saying he wanted to do online training in the late 90s. So he goes, it's taken them basically 20 years and COVID to finally launch big time into it. So I know we're all kind of like, damn it, we wish 2020 was a wipeout, etc. But like you're saying, it also gives you time to sit back, stop, reflect, because otherwise we're moving so fast all the time, you have no time to think, right?
Yes.
So I think there's also, it's tough. It's definitely tough for all of us trying to survive, run businesses, all that. But it also is a time to reflect, redesign your business, come up with new ideas. I mean, like we've managed to, the team's done a brilliant job with us just going online, and now we're into week 8 of non-stop content. I was trying to give my team a break next week because I said, okay, let's go slow. We'll just do like 1 thing a day, 5 or 6. And then yesterday talking to a brand, I was like, oh, we're doing this next week. So we're going to do, next week, we're going to walk around salons across the country who have opened up. Wow. And then suddenly he was like, great, let me partner with you. And we've gone from doing 1 thing a day to I think we might end up doing like 15 walkarounds next week, which... So my team were not too happy last night. They're like, what are you doing? It's meant to be an easy week. We want time off. And I was like, yeah, we'll have to cancel time off because it's just because you can move so quickly and come up with ideas so quickly and execute.
Yes, absolutely. Where the world is stopping, you guys are running. Those guys must be like, their friends must be calling in like, I've been boring so full day. I was Netflixing in Amazon. I was like, my boss has kept me on my toes.
Non-stop, yeah.
But fabulous. I think your efforts are something that is helping the whole industry cope up. So
thank you.
A big thank you to your team. Huh?
Thank you. And then back to you. So how, because when you join this whole kind of hairstylist career, there's so many different areas you could move into, right? And I know you would describe yourself as, a stylist and a colorist, but how do you figure out where to channel your energy or where to position yourself, as you're developing your career?
Wow, you used a very good sentence. How do I channel my energy? Because firstly, I'll answer my question, then we'll go to that topic.
Okay.
So when I started learning hairdressing, and also when I can't say learning, but after learning, when I started practicing all of those, I realized that every job is different. A haircut is a different job altogether. It's not, hairdressing is not just one thing. It's an umbrella, and then you have a lot of things under that. And then, so I understood different aspects of it, texture services and rituals, and coloring is a different subject. Or coloring is not a subject, coloring is a world altogether, I
Yeah.
can say. So I started analyzing with myself, and thanks to the international hairdressers, because that's where I have seen that the person who does cuts does only cuts. He doesn't even do color.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
vice versa. So I knew that I can't do this in India. Not all of us are capable of doing that. That only one person will do one job. We still need to evolve, and I pray that one day that happens. But I realized that I need to know what are my strengths and what do I do the best. So I initially started with haircuts, and then I gradually tried becoming a, I can't say master, but I tried becoming near to precision. I tried achieving that thing over there. And then secondly, I started loving coloring a lot. So
Okay.
yes, in fact, that's when I was selected for the color trophy also twice,
Wow.
when I was not the idea artist. It was long back,
Yeah. Yeah.
some 7, 8 years back. So that's when I realized my love for color, and I started exploring the color world also. And fortunately, since the last 3 years, there's this another interest that I've got into hairdressing, and I'm doing too much about that also. And that's styling, open styling, and all of those is something that I'm really loving too.
Okay.
So primarily,
Just
I
explain a bit more about that, like, open stylings, for others that are listening in, because like you said, styling, coloring, that they're MBAs in itself, and you can
yeah,
explore it to real depth. So
yes.
just explain a bit more about the difference and how in depth you can go in those fields, so that others who are maybe a bit confused about where to go, you can give them some guidance.
Absolutely. So I would start off by saying that styling is your packaging. So once I was talking to Alim sir, and he told me that Vivek, all the haircuts and everything that you do is the gift, but the styling that you do after that haircut is the packaging. And everybody wants to open the first gift, which has the most fabulous packaging. So make
Mm,
sure that your styling is on point. And I understood that time the
wow.
importance of styling when I was talking to Alim. And so to answer your question, open styling, guys, open styling is something that we do when the hair is open. So in open also there are multiple ways of doing it. And then we have up styles wherein the hair is up and everything is up and nothing is down on your shoulders or around your face or around your back. Everything is up. That's called up style. And then we have editorials. Editorial is a mixture of both, wherein you can create editorial look keeping it semi up to semi open also, or you can completely create an up style. Do not get confused by thinking that upstyle is absolutely bridal hairstyle. No, it's not that way. Upstyles, bridal hairstyle is a part of upstyle. So bridal hairstyle is one of the segments of upstyling, and then modern updos is another way of styling, wherein it doesn't look like she's an Indian bride or something like that. It looks really stylish, something that you wear when you go in for a cocktail party or something like that, or a red carpet look or an evening look or something like that. And open styling is something that you do mostly in salons, or it's very commercial. So if I have to say what goes around too much in India, if you are still learning, first opt for open styling. First you need to know regular styling, of course, and if you've mastered that, you go for the open styling wherein you have open hair, and try and do it on your clients behind the chair, and you'll see how open styling really works fabulously. It's a level notch above than your regular blow dries and all of those. And of course, it needs skills. It doesn't require, open styling does not require tools like a bobby pin or a U pin or all of those kind of stuff. Maximum that you can add to an open style is a brush or an accessory or something like that. That works really well for open styling. Make sure you have the right products also in order to bring the sheen when you're doing the open styling. Going to the up styling. So guys, all of these are a part of styling. That's how it is. So then we go to upstyling. Upstyling is a different game altogether, wherein you have donuts and you have bananas and all of those coming into the picture. You have a lot more accessories, you can braid and you can do all of those things when you're doing an upstyle. Angles are really taken care into when you're doing upstyle. It has to be like a 45 angle when a client is looking from the profile or a radial. So all of those things is something that you need to learn before you start doing upstyles. And ultimately, to not make it too technical, one thing that you need to really have is a vision. Sometimes you will look at you will do something and it will look, wow, nice, nice, nice. After that, it's really important to relax, take 3 steps back and now look at your, whatever you've done, be it cut, color, styling, upstyling, open styling. Take 2-3 steps back, take a look at it. Is it looking good to your eye? You've done all the technical things. You've done A, B plus 3 grams of C and 5 grams of D. Everything you've done perfect. Fabulous. But take a step back. Take a look at it like an artist. Now don't think technical. And now if you think it's right, not touch. Don't overdo. But if you still think no, something is missing. And you know that something could be a little bit like just taking a flick out also, and that would be like, oh, complete. And that something could be like, this is not working. I need to really take it off. Do again. That could also be. But to know what it would be, whether it's 10 grams of fluctuation that you need to do or completely, for that nobody's going to educate you. You need to have the eye. You need to have the vision. So I think that's how I can sum it up. Open styling, up styling, and most importantly, the vision of an artist.
Brilliant. And we were talking to Asha last week about that, about can you train some of that nuance of being, that creative artist bit? Can you train, or is it a natural gift? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's both the ways for me. Initially, when I started, I was trained. I took training from a lot of people. And then once my training was done, I was self-training myself. So I would do something and I would be like, okay, this. So I've mastered. Now I know A, B, C, D. Now I will myself be like, okay, let's try A, C, D, B. And I'll do that. I will either fail or I will succeed. But I'm not doing that on stage. No, I'm doing it in my academy alone. Who's watching me? So that's fine. And sometimes it turns out like, okay, this is looking good, yeah. And then you're like, okay, it's a kind of training itself, when you and your mannequin, you're just romancing between each other and you're working. So that is how it happened. So initially, I can't say that I don't say that I'm that talented that I would just do something myself and that occurs. That has happened eventually with time, but initially I took trainings for everything and then I gave it my touch. I made it my look.
Brilliant. And then talk a bit like how you broke down the styling, beautifully. Can you also mention a bit about the colorist side as well? Like how would you break that down?
Sure, I would do that. Love to do that. So coloring again is as I mentioned to Vikas guys, that coloring is not a subject, it's not a service. If you talk about it, it's a world of experience to me, and there are multiple things into it. Of course, I don't need to mention, everybody knows balayage nowadays, and yes, that is the most trending color these days. So whenever you're doing a hair color, if I have to break it down into what and how it has to be done, to put it simply, you sometimes would need to, what's the most important is that when you're doing color for your clients or for your models, or for few of them must be working for big houses, business houses also, the most important is consultation. A lot of times in India, I'm talking from my experience from being an Indian hairdresser, because I know that in India fashion comes and then you need to explain fashion to people and then they adapt it. It's not that, okay, they would see and they would be like, oh, this is looking so fashionable. The hairdresser has to tell them that this is in fashion, and you see how this is different from the classic highlights. This is balayage. See, this is Angelina Jolie is carrying this, and this is the new trend. All of those have to be. So firstly, apart from being a hairdresser, become a glib. I say that it's very important to be a glib talker, So you need to consult your client really well, explain them. Always when you're talking about hair colors, don't just use your verbal skills. You need to show pictures. Keep your pictures handy in your phone, your work, in your Instagram profile. or the portfolio that your company has created in your website and your phone both. In case you still don't have that, no worries. Pinterest, Google, we have everything run nowadays. Or else you're free to go to my Instagram profile and take some pictures. Don't worry about that. So with coloring, explain it to your clients that how this is different from this, and then it becomes much easier that you both are in the same line. Or else all of those fussy things start coming in the salon. The negativity that I had asked for this, you have done this, no, this is not fashion. Even if this is fashion, I am not liking it. Firstly, show her fashion, introduce her to the world of fashion. It just takes 10 minutes of consultation, and then it would be like fabulous. You bring her softly to the world of fashion, and then you're like, oh wow, let's explore. That happens. So coloring, coming back to, we have global, we have classic highlights, and we have balayage. We have a lot more than these also, but breaking it down into these three, because we can't do a lot in the session right now. But these are the top three things that are happening in color these days. Whenever you want to create a very good depth and base for your clients, you go for a global color first. Don't directly jump onto highlights or a balayage. Secondly, if your client has already been doing global hair colors and she is now asking you that take me to the next level of fashion or trend, you can show her balayage. But if she's somebody who's, we say the wallflowers. I don't know how do you say wallflowers? Introvert? Should I say introvert?
Yeah.
So introverts, there are few clients who they're not too exposed to fashion. So you need to don't directly jump to a balayage or something like that for them.
You don't want to scare them.
Yeah, you don't want to scare them. So you show them the classic highlights. You introduce them to classic highlights. You do all of those. Now, what is classic highlights? Classic highlights are few pieces of thin hair which come onto the color. The few pieces of thin colored hair, or that's how I should say, which come out of your hair. And you create a 2D vision onto it, wherein one is a base which is not colored, other one is the highlight which is colored. So it creates a 2D effect onto your hair. Now there are ways of doing that also. And then if your client is somebody who's been really fashionable, she herself is very colorful, she comes to you every 6 months, she changes her hair color, please introduce her to balayage. And then once you start doing balayage, there are multiple ways of doing balayage. You won't believe me that in this online education course that I was doing, every day I was doing only balayage, and every day different techniques of balayage. So balayage itself is also, it's people think, okay, that making that means Vikas wouldn't be able to understand when I say a V shape or a balayage or chevron or something like those. But I'm sure, but the viewers would understand that balayage is not just about creating that V. That was the basic of balayage. It's a lot more happening, guys. So that is what balayage is. You create blends, you create cool tones, you create warm tones, you create blends of colors in such a way in balayage that the lines are not seen, but the color is still there, and it comes out very gradually, from nowhere to a little bit more to the most, and that looks like wow, beautiful. And guys, clients will accept it, because when we do something which is too tacky and it starts from the roots, they don't like it. But balayage is the opposite of that. It's dark over there and then it starts going lighter. So all the clients are ready to accept it. Just do a good job. That's it. So this is how I think I can bifurcate coloring for you. One is, if your client is really new, go for the global, which is like just the base. If she's somebody who's exploring new colors not very frequently, go for classic highlights. And if she's fashionable, then jump to balayage. Balayage is the thing.
Good. So you've got Najib's giving you the thumbs up as well, and he'd already mentioned blended while you were talking about balayage.
Najib,
Asha also says hi.
Yes. Hi Asha ma'am, and Najib bhai, salam alaikum.
Good. And I think it's a good note. You were talking about photos, etc., to move on to social media. So what role does social media PR play, especially in this generation, the younger generation? How important is understanding and using social media as an artist nowadays?
Social media is your second half, I can say. That's your personality. So a lot of times, if you're going to be nowadays, people don't ask for profiles. They don't ask for your websites. They don't ask me send your profile, send me your work. They will ask you send me your Instagram handle. So yeah,
this is all your clients state you directly.
clients also, and people whom we are consulting also. Yeah, or even if I go for some shoots and somebody wants to see my work before they give me
Yes.
work. If I'm going for some training and before I train, they want to see that how I do it. I have seen a lot of times, guys, that people have stopped asking for your websites, or they've stopped asking for your profiles. They've started asking for your Instagram handles, and that's where they see your work. So it's very important. I'm not saying that if you do not have your work on Instagram, you won't survive. It's not that way, guys. So do not. Because I have friends who are not on Instagram and they do a fabulous job, irrespective. So it's not that way. But if you are there on Instagram, then the world is watching you. It is a platform that you're missing on if you're not there. Secondly, once you have it, and just the way Vikas has mentioned that how important it is for an artist to have it, I think it's very significant. It's something that pushes your marketing abilities in order to communicate. I can say both of these. I can marketing also and communicating also. So it becomes very important that you show the world. You know, I belong from Rajasthan, and in Rajasthan we say that "Mor nacha kisne dekha." That means, do you understand? Did you understand?
I got that. That I got. Yes.
So even if you're doing like the most fabulous work in the town, but who's seen it? You need audience. You need audience to tell them that, listen, guys, I'm doing this. If anybody wants, I'm there. So that is what Instagram is. So you need to have your profile really strong, and that's your personality. The second thing what I was saying is that's your personality. When people go on your Instagram profile, they come to know 50% of your life already. If you put your private life, if you only put your work, that's as good as a website. But if you want, you can to put a little bit of your private life also. Sometimes you're going somewhere, there's that also shows your personality. Okay, my hairdresser is witty, or is my hairdresser very structured, disciplined, organized? Is my hairdresser something very energetic or something like that? That personality also comes across when you see somebody's Instagram profile.
Yeah.
So these are the two things.
So what does your Instagram say about you then?
I think people would say that. No, how would I say?
Well,
I would love to hear it from
get comments.
Vikas. Have you seen my Instagram profile, Vikas?
Not in that much detail, but Rebecca's saying it's a little bit of both. So I don't know if that's disciplined and witty, but I know you did just on the Insta bit again, because I saw the session you did with Vipul a few weeks ago, which is great as well. So what kind of images should you put on Insta? Because obviously a lot of stuff can be photoshopped, you get the perfect look and all that stuff, so that it all becomes the same. So that those listening in that don't quite understand how to use social media,
yes,
what couple of tips would you give them about how to build their own profile, their own personality, on Instagram? So what tips would you give there?
All right. So firstly, once you have your Instagram profile ready, you need to plan that how it's going to look, and how often are you going to post is also very important, because you need to be constantly, or let's say consistently, in communication with your audience, your defined target audience. So you need to define a timeline that, okay, mine is going to be like every 2 days, every second day I'll put one post, or every fourth day I'll put one post, something like that. Do not keep a very big gap between your posts, because then people would be like, okay, he's like, he comes and then he vanishes, then he comes, then he vanishes, and then people start unfollowing you. So there is this culture also on Instagram of unfollowing, which you can see on your insights. You come to know exact numbers. Instagram gives you the statistics, analytics on who's following, not following, and people have unfollowed you. So if you're not consistent also, then also people start unfollowing you. So you need to have that timeline fit, and you need to be very disciplined about that. Okay, I will do this. I have to do it. Like every 2 days, I have to post one picture or a video, something like that. And once you start doing that, coming to pictures, just the way Vikas has mentioned, try to have a ring light. Usually, I do not do. I would love to do live sessions with my ring light, but everything is in my studio, and I'm here at home, so I couldn't have that. And I have light at my place, but the background is too bright. And as per the instructions I received from Hia, she told me that keep a white background. I was like, okay, this is the only place. So this, if you will be able to see me in the screen, guys, you will know that how important lights are. So you need to have lights. You see how fair and handsome Vikas is looking right now with good lights.
Yeah, that's fair and lovely. Fair and lovely.
So lights play second very important role in your photography when you're doing that. And whenever you do your client's hair color, haircut, or some styling that you're doing, invest a little into that rim light. Keep it at your salon. Do not try to keep it exactly in the center or on the face of your client. You can keep it slightly at a 45 degrees, like how my hand is and where my face is, so you'll be able to recognize something like that. So that I learned this from Vipul, by the way. So that one side you have a little bit of shadow and one side you have that light, so it creates that depth. So you can use these lights also, and that I'm not saying that if you don't use lights, your creativity will not be seen. But, or if you use lights, your creativity will go to another level. It's not that way. But of course, there's some level of enhancement that happens when you have lights. Your work is really seen with those lights. A lot of times we're just using our mobile phones, clicking picture, and we're like, I can see it with my eyes, but it's not coming on my picture. Yeah, it's not coming that way. Here it's different. Here it's different. That's sometimes because of the lights also. So use lights and click pictures. It's not too expensive to buy those. And hashtags is third point what I would like to go to. Use really good hashtags. Don't put too many of them also. It's not that of a use also. People ultimately would see that, okay, once you've created a personality on Instagram, people would be like, okay, Vivek's post, let me stop and watch it. Or could be Vivek's post, quickly scroll it, So that's also there. So you need to use good hashtags also in order to reach to an audience. So for an example, if you're using the hashtag PBI can actually just type hashtag PBI and see who all have posted with the hashtag PBI. And if they like your work, who knows, they might repost it. And if they're reposting, your reach is, increasing. So use good hashtags wherein people whom you want to notice you, use those hashtags. Use hair color, Parisian cool, or cool tones. I would like to admit this. I actually go on Google and I type and search that what are the trending hashtags, and then I come to know, okay, these are trending. People are putting this a lot. So then I put those also in my post. So hashtags are the third thing that's most important. And I think to sum it up, these are the three things that you need to be consistent with your Instagram post. You need to click good pictures, and how you should do it, I've just given you one of the tips. And the third is use good hashtags. These are the top 3 tips for Instagram. And there's a lot more, but maybe sometime.
Yeah. I know you can do a whole course in that, so we'll keep that separate. Before we wrap up, also, like you said, you've also, you've managed to go from, being stylist to being a consultant for others, working with brands, consulting with Enrich, etc. What advice can you give to others, who are starting up in their career about how do you build that career that you can also start working with brands and top salons and etc. so that you can be a consultant to them, and especially so quickly because it's only like just over 10 years since you've started your career, so within a very short amount of time, the fact that you're working with L'Oreal and you're consulting with Enrich, some of the biggest names around, what advice can you give to others about how to chart that career out?
I would not give advice because I don't want to build competition, but I'm joking, guys. I'm joking.
Just tell everyone all the wrong things to do, so they copy that.
All the wrong things. Guys,
spam like crazy. Spam them like crazy. Yeah.
So okay. So starting with, I will say to all my hairdresser friends that firstly, in whatever you are doing, be very fervent about it. Be very passionate about it, whatever you're doing. It has to, how do we say that? You need to be zealous about your work. There has to be a zeal that comes when you go to your work. So if you have that, trust me, even if you're not telling anybody, even if there are just 2 people sitting on the waiting chair and looking at you, they'll be like, I don't know why, but out of these 4 chairs, I'm looking at this guy, the way he's doing hair, it shows that, he's into it. Even if you're not saying, they will be like, oh, I want him. So be very fervid about your work, firstly. Secondly, because we're talking about the young hairdressers, because I've seen a lot of them, they're excited. They're very excited. But their excitement turns, you know how they're very tumultuous. They become very tumultuous towards when they're doing something. So they don't know, just the way you very rightly put, Vikas, that they are excited. They have all of it, but they're so tumultuous to it that they don't know where to channel their energy. They are so energetic. So don't be that way also. You are young. Being hot-blooded is good. Don't be hot-headed. Is what I always say. So in fact, I'm too young to give all of these advice. Firstly, but just out of my little bit of experience that I have seen, I am saying these. So that's how it is. So be very organized. Coming to the second point, what I was trying to say is be organized. It's very good that you're passionate, you've started doing good work, but you have to be really organized. People literally look at whether your brush, when you're coloring, is fully dirty. Have you completely dipped it inside and you're coloring? Or are you neat? How is your trolley? Is your trolley looking very neat and clean? Or are you a messy hairdresser? So all of those, also something people would not tell you, but they're coming. The juries are coming. Because I've been a part of these competitions also, a lot of those, and I've seen that. People come and they'll see how clean you are, how your job is. So second thing that we all need to learn, I'm also trying to learn every day by day, is trying to become more organized with your work. Be very organized and be truthful, very disciplined with your work. Third, communicate everything that you're doing. In order to reach where you want to reach, it has to be in your mind that yes, I have to reach there. And then you set up a ladder of how am I going to reach there. So for an example, I wanted to be nominated for the PBI Young Guns. I messaged everybody, nominate me.
Yes. I got a lot of messages. I didn't want to say them. I got a lot of...
one small confession over here which I made. So you know that you want to be there. No, it's not going to come to you. You have to go there. So start working towards it. Start communicating with those kind of people where you want to be. And nowadays it's very easy. You have Instagram, you have Facebook and all of those. So in order to reach there, you need to start communicating through all of these channels to reach there. And people will notice your work. If your work is really good, then they will notice. So firstly, get your work right, to put it first. So that's how it is. And lastly, fourth advice is be a novice. Be a novice. When I say novice, be a neophyte. Be a life learner. Somebody who's always learning. And because every time I conduct a course or I conduct a seminar, I always tell people that there are two things that you guys have to do in my seminar. One is that you unlearn firstly in the 5 minutes that I'm giving you. I'm giving you 5 minutes. Forget that you know everything. Now that you've come as a student, now that you've come as a participant, I know that in the audience of 400 sitting in my seminar, 40 would be those with 20 years of experience. But now you've come as a student, right? So have that attitude in your mind. Stop thinking that, अरे मैं तो ये ऐसे कर सकता हूँ, ये तो मैं उससे भी अच्छा कर सकता हूँ. आप कर सकते हो तो आप salon में ही रहो ना फिर. So if you've come as a student, be a student. That is what I do always. So
I think that's a really good tip, because when I interact with people, whether from this industry or others, it's very easy to go into a course and then start lecturing the lecturer and saying, I know this, I can do this. But you're right. If you're not interested in learning, then just don't attend. And same like you have someone like a Seema Jerajani who's won everything. She's at the top, and yet she spends so much time learning, even now, constantly learning.
Yes, absolutely. So you need to.
So we've got about 30 seconds left. So if you just want to wrap up as well.
That's it. These are the 4 points that I wanted to give those guys. So be a life learner, be very organized, and what were the other? Be very fervent, be very passionate about your work. And fourth one, if Vikas is saving the live, once you end the live, please save it for 24 hours so that others can see it. So that's what I can see if I'm forgetting. Before we finish this, thank you, Vikas. Big thank you.
And it's wrapping up now. But thank you, Vivek, so much for being part of this.